This is lesson 7 in our Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning scheme of learning. Please watch our first video. You can find this in Google Classroom. Next, I want you to click on the link inside your workbooks. This should give you a reminder of what artificial intelligence is. Here's one of our key questions. What is AI? Should we allow computers to be cleverer than us? And where is AI currently used in the world? And we'll be looking at all three of these today. This is our keyword wall. And finally, we are looking at how to develop machine learning ourselves today. Here's a quick reminder. Artificial intelligence works by training the computer with different options and reactions so that it can learn. Remember, that is machine learning. It can then make predictions for us. Remember our drawing game from last week. It learns by the patterns that we draw so that the next person who draws them, it can recognise them. And it learns by lots of people drawing the same things. Now, we can have artificial intelligence in Netflix. And there's a quick video here to talk about how important that is for them. You will have seen that actually Netflix uses a very complex algorithm. It uses simple tags for each movie. So for example, Shrek and Madagascar. Shrek and Madagascar are both cartoons. So we might put a tag on for cartoon. They're both animations. They are both for kids. They might have slightly different age ranges, but if you were to watch two of these, it would probably predict you very similar movies. So I want you to try and finish the tags. Can you think of as many tags as you can for each movie? Then look for the common tags and make 3 recommendations you think somebody would like to watch. We're going to be using a piece of software called the Teachable Machine. Please watch this video as an introduction. Now remember, we've already said that artificial intelligence works by training the computer with different options so that it can learn, called machine learning. It does this by using different classes like our tags that we had before in Netflix. We have to give it lots of examples in the same class. Once we've done that, we train it so that it can link other images, pictures, text, words or sounds to our classes. We can then export it and use that in different places. In the Teachable Machine, you can actually use 3 different types of artificial intelligence using images, so it can recognise images, recognise sounds or poses. To make this work, you're going to actually come up with your own idea for the Teachable Machine. Here's an idea for an unripe banana. First of all, I've set my categories. Remember in Netflix we had to set categories and tags? My categories are too early, ripe, too late and not banana. In this GIF you can see how we're training it. We're training it for ripe bananas. So we keep showing it pictures of ripe bananas until it knows and can recognise the patterns of what a ripe banana is. Here we're training it again for too late. And this is a GIF. You can see that the banana has more brown on it and it should recognise that. We then have to train our model so it can remember and record the patterns. The training can take a couple of minutes, but once it's done, you can view the model. It gives you a percentage likeness, and this GIF shows you an example of us testing it. Remember, the more you train it, the better it will get. Here's another example of face recognition using artificial intelligence. Please watch this video and think about how it works. So face recognition actually works by looking at the geometry of a face. It's like fingerprints, they're all slightly different. And it can then pinpoint different key points on your face so it can distinguish who you are. So face recognition is being used in a lot of different places. Identification checks, for example unlocking your phone, or at the airport. When you use a passport, it checks and scans your face. Security, so we can spot people in crowds who might be dangerous, and police can scan people when they enter a venue looking for wanted criminals. Let's have some fun with face apps, because this works in the same way. On iPads and Androids, there are lots of different face apps which use algorithms and artificial intelligence when you've uploaded a face so that you can make it, swap it, change the gender, make it fat or thin or older or younger. However, there have been concerns about some of these programs. It could potentially be dangerous. And what does it do with your data? A quick search of the App Store will find hundreds of these different ones, and I'm sure you've all done it in Snapchat, where you can put different effects on your face. We're going to build our own face recognition unlocking system for a phone. To use the Teachable Machine, you must first go to teachablemachine.withgoogle.com. You'll be met by this page. Now there are 3 types of projects: image, audio and pose. Each of them represents different things, and you can train up your model using each of the different types. The image one is going to represent images, the audio is going to represent audio patterns, and the pose one positions of your body. First of all, let's have a look at the image one. When you click on the image one, you're going to see our different classes. In the middle you've got training, on the right hand side you've got preview. Now we're going to do this for face recognition, so I'm going to have me and I'm going to have other people. That doesn't have to be people, this could be other objects as well. Now remember, we are trying to make a program that recognises whether it's you or not. So we have to click on the webcam. You'll then see a picture of yourself here, so I can see myself now. I'm going to have to click hold to record. It'll then take lots of samples of my face. You want to look on different sides of you, smiling, unhappy, so it picks up all the different positions of your face. Then you want to start training it with other people. So you're going to have to find some friends, click on the webcam and take a couple of pictures of other people. Once you've done, and only once you've added at least 8 samples, you'll be able to train your model. Click Train Model, and this is going to take a couple of minutes. Once you've done that, you can preview your model on the right hand side. Does it work? Does it recognise your face, or does it not? You can add other classes at the bottom. So you could make this more interesting. We could have other things like your pet dog or your pet cat. You could try and get it to recognise male or female. That's up to you, and will lead you to decide how you're going to categorise these. We're next going to try an audio model. In exactly the same way, click on the audio project. You've then got 2 different options. Now it's really important that you record some background noise, and that has to be 20 seconds. So I'm going to click on my mic and start recording. So I click my record for 20 seconds. Once it's finished recording, you need to click extract sample, and you'll see all these tiny samples just here. Now we want it to represent and recognise different sounds, so let's have clapping. We can add a different class, we can do whistling, we could do all sorts of different things. So we click on mic and we start recording at least 8 samples. Once you've done it, remember to extract your sample. So you can see now that I have extracted some samples for clapping, whistling and talking. I could have more. Remember, we do it in exactly the same way. We record and then extract it so it saves it. Click on your train model. Now this could take a couple of minutes, and you'll see it's starting to train the different features. So we're 3 out of 50 of the way there. It's taken 7 seconds so far, and you need to leave this. Don't leave this tab, otherwise it won't work. Okay, it's finished now training my model, and you can see it's starting to work in the background. So it listens to the sound that's being produced, and then it gives us a percentage indication of what it thinks we're doing. So actually it's doing quite well at the moment because I'm talking, and you can see most of the time it thinks that I am talking. As soon as I go quiet, you should see the background noise because there's nobody talking. If I was to start clapping, that's working, and whistling, there you go. So this model is working well. If it's not working well, you might want to go back and add some extra samples. Remember, a little bit of variety will help it to succeed. When you're talking to Google, if you were to say, "OK Google" or "Hey Google," both of them would work. So you need to train it in both ways. Remember back to our drawing lesson and our alarm clock. Where you had to draw for artificial intelligence, there were different ways of drawing an alarm clock and different ways of doing drawings. And you need to think about that when you are training your model. See if you can get this to work. Now you've finished creating your model, I actually want you to actually review it. Think about how it works and why it was different from some of the other websites that we've seen. Let's think about trying to improve our models. Think back to my banana model. When I used a banana, I was always holding it in my hand. Well, actually, if you were to put it on a desk, would it still work? Well, you need to test that, and if it doesn't, you might need to take some different pictures. So think about different backgrounds and different positions of your images. Here's an example of the banana program being used on the internet in real life. Please watch this video to give you an example of how the Teachable Machine is actually really being used. Please go back to your definition of artificial intelligence and expand it to include what machine learning is. Up, left, left, up, left, up, left, 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 up. Now, for the rest of the lesson, we're going to be creating our own Scratch game using artificial intelligence. You're going to be able to use up, down, left and right with your voice to move your character. There is an example and your teacher will show you this. You need to train your model so that it can go up, down, left and right. Remember, when we're using audio, we need some background noise first. Then we're going to train up. We're going to need different classes, down, left and right. You then need to record yourself saying the same word, down. So here's an example. Down, down. And keep doing it so you've got a series of samples. Now when you're recording these, you'll see here I'm going to do right, right. Can you see how when I've been talking it's in the first sample? I can actually change what part of the sample I want to use. So this one and this one here are not actually in use. You can see I've gone through all my samples now to remove anything that was redundant. I'm going to start training my model. Once you've trained your model, it's worth testing it. Up, up, down, left, right. Mine seems to be working. I need to export my model. So click on this export button just here. It's going to give you some other bits and pieces. So you can see here it says upload shareable link, and this is what we're going to be doing. You can see all the code that it's automatically created just here. I need to click upload my model. It will upload it and then it will give us a link. I need to copy my link. Now we need to train our model and give lots of examples and preview it to check it. Finally, we need to export our model. You can do this using the instructions on the screen. Once you've copied your model in your workbook, there is a page which will help you to actually get that code into your Scratch model. Go into this page and then add that into Scratch for me. Continue to follow the instructions as you can see on this page. You might want to pause it and just use these. Next up, you need to make 3 sprites: a track, a finish line, and some kind of character that's going to move around your track. Add the code that is in your workbooks, so there's 2 pages of code, into the different sprites. The sprite you need to add it in is in the left hand side. Once you've done that, try your game. Does it work? We're now going to create our own AI products and our own models. This can be your own ideas. Here are a few ideas. You can choose audio, motion or image. Just be careful with motion though, because this can be a bit slow. You could do one to find out if you're happy or sad, loud or quiet, what kind of music you're playing, what song you're singing. In the images, you could do security, but we've kind of done that one already. Again, are you happy or sad? Get it to recognise objects, to find out if fruit is ripe or not, what colour something is. You could do an eco-friendly one. Can you recycle something? So you could train it to notice plastic. You could get it to count by holding up your different fingers, or a sign language recognizer. You could get it to recognise brands, to say if it's a good or a bad brand. On the motion one, what dance move are you doing, what sport are you playing, rock, paper or scissors guesser, and game movement, which is a similar one to that we've already done. Next, we're going to design our artificial intelligence. Please find this page in your workbooks and complete the questions. Now go and complete your project in the Teachable machine. You should have completed your project now. I want you to create an evaluation. Think about, did it work and how could you improve it? Take a print screen of your classes and your training so that your teacher can see and mark these, and then add a link to your model. For the final part of this lesson, we're going to think about bias in the data and the predictions that artificial intelligence makes. We're starting this by watching a small video. Please watch this video and think about bias and data as you're watching it. To think about bias and data, I want you to think about these different facial expressions. Find this page in your workbook and drag one of the key expressions and emotion to the different faces. You've probably got different answers to this. There's actually no right and wrong answer. That's because it's a matter of perception. Everybody might judge a face slightly differently, and this might cause bias in our answers. Remember our moral machine. Everybody will give slightly different results. You can have a look through this and remember, were you biased? And people give different results, so that means our outcomes will be slightly different. This can cause massive problems in our data. Have a look at this video and think about the problems with bias while you're watching it. If you're interested in this, there's an extended learning opportunity at the end of your workbooks. It's a TED Talk looking at bias in AI. There's also a second extended learning opportunity where you can go and have a look around the National Museum of Computing. Spend some time having a look at some of the history of computer science.